How to make a video praising a type who often don't feel comfortable with compliments. Well, prepare for discomfort. The detective. The world is full of obvious things, which nobody by any chance ever observes. If an ISFJ walks into a room, one that they are familiar with, and something is out of place, they will notice it. But beyond that, they can spot changes, even in places that they are not familiar with. If something is out of the ordinary, they will sniff it out. Because they have such a strong sense of the way things typically are, when something is off, they just kind of feel it. This applies to the sensory realm, but also to people. SI and FE, in combination, is like a database, a library of Alexandria, where people details are catalogued. Let's contrast an INFJ and ISFJ, or more specifically, the NIFE combo and the SIFE combo. NIFE is happy to imagine an archetype of a person, to flesh that out in detail, then to try to reconcile that with reality. As I mentioned in a recent INFJ video, I think this is why they love personality types so much. It's abstract first. SIFE is going to observe patterns in reality and build their ideas from the ground up. In fact, they are not necessarily even looking for an idea or abstract way of viewing things, but they will let that happen if one emerges. The INFJ approach is top-down, starting with the high-level, abstract patterns. The ISFJ approach is bottom-up, starting with ground-level patterns in reality. The detail-oriented nature of the ISFJ type is often lauded, but it's their perceptive people skills that are overlooked. This makes them the perfect detectives, in my view. When you think of a detective, a real-life one, the vast majority of what they do involves relying on spotting patterns you've seen before, both at crime scenes and then with the people you interview and investigate. When I hear phrases like "no stone left unturned" or "going over with a fine-tooth comb," I think of ISFJs. I can't imagine a worse type to have on my tail if I was a criminal, which I'm not. Humility and reserving judgment. There's nothing more insufferable than people who boast about their own humility. ISFJs are typically humble and non-judgmental, but what is the benefit of this? Well, people with these traits are more likely to dodge one of life's biggest pitfalls, failing to keep growing and learning. Arrogance stops you from learning because you already know what the best answer or approach is. Being judgmental closes your mind off from new information. Because ISFJs exemplify the virtue of humility, then failure, rejection, mistakes are just par for the course of life. Considering the importance of iteration and trial and error, this is a big advantage. Because ISFJs don't prejudge people, they don't rule out their opinions and views unnecessarily. The ISFJ type is, I think, viewed as closed-minded in the typology community. I disagree. I think that is a stereotype or myth. There is a reason why people think this though, which leads me to my next point. Ground your actions in concrete realism. In order to improvise, you first have to know exactly what you're doing. I don't think you can be an abstract painter unless you know how to draw. The genius of the ISFJ is to filter everything through the lens of usefulness, actionability, and tangible benefit. That is why I describe them as people who disproportionately learn from their experiences. Everything is useful to them. Everything is a potential lesson. So it's not that they are closed-minded, they just have a rigorous filter on what they choose to act upon. If you are an ISFJ and you would like to filter for tangible benefit and usefulness, then click subscribe.